You know, most people who manipulate other people don't see it as destructive. They tell themselves that what they want or need is so important that the ends justify the means. For example, Christine believed that all of her adult children should come home for Christmas. She said, "We don't see each other often, and spending one holiday together isn't asking for too much. There isn't anything wrong with that." And there isn't, except when one of Christine's children said back to her that he wasn't coming home last year. And so then Christine started crying. And she told her son how selfish he was and how much he was hurting her by his uncaring attitude. She hoped that by telling her son her honest feelings, he would change his mind and come home. Now, Christine was playing on her son's sympathies with an added dose of the guilt card in order to get her son to do what she wanted. That's called manipulation. So when you or I regularly manipulate someone and refuse to graciously accept his or her no, the relationship starts to deteriorate. Even if Christine got all of her children to comply in coming home to Christmas every year, if they do it out of guilt and have an underlying feeling of resentment, is that going to give her the family closeness that she craves so much? No way. You see, all healthy relationships require the freedom to say no to the other person without fear or pressure. And when that freedom is absent, or you don't allow someone to say no to you or have their own opinion without making them feel guilty or pressured or afraid or stupid, then you can't have a healthy relationship with that person. Part of good emotional, mental, and spiritual health is your ability to tolerate your own pain and your own disappointment when someone doesn't do what you want them to do. The truth is, no one always gets what they want all the time, even if what you want is a good thing. Recently, someone emailed me a question saying, "My wife says I'm controlling. She says I never allow her to have her own opinion, and I disagree. I just think I'm passionate and assertive. She avoids conflict. Am I controlling and manipulative like she says? I don't see it." So I encouraged him to invite honest feedback from those who know him well. It may be his small group Bible study, or at work colleagues, other family members, his children, and other friends, how they experience him, and to encourage them to tell him the truth without fear of retaliation. Most of them told him he was intimidating and controlling. And John was flabbergasted. He had no idea. Now what? Now, once you see you have a tendency to push people for your own way or your own agenda and try to manipulate others to comply, if you want to stop doing it, you have to humble yourself and confess this problem. First, confess it to God. Repent of manipulating people's emotions just to get your own way. And ask God to help you become aware and willing to not demand your own way all the time. But the next thing you're going to have to do is ask the people closest to you to give you direct feedback when they feel you are being manipulative toward them. Old habits die hard, and even when we want to change, we don't always recognize what we're doing until it's already done. And so when you invite people to give you their honest feedback, you're asking people to stop you right in the midst of your manipulative tactics, which shows them that you are serious about changing them. And next comes the hardest part. When they give you their direct feedback, you have to stop doing what you're doing. You can't keep pushing and bullying and arguing or guilt tripping. Instead, thank them for their feedback and stop and reflect on what you're doing. Ask God to help you see what you're doing, as well as to have help to handle the disappointment of not getting what you want. In order to stop these destructive patterns like manipulating, you can't do it all alone. We have to have other people who can regularly speak into our lives, because the Bible tells us we all have a tendency to lie to ourselves. And so if you practice these 4 steps, first, become aware, see it. Confess to God and people that you have this tendency. Ask for their feedback. And stop when they give you it. When you're engaging in the pattern of manipulation and they're telling you, stop it. And if you do that, your friends and family will begin to know you mean business. And they will see that you sincerely want to change this destructive pattern. Change doesn't happen overnight for anyone. Just because you see something that needs to change, the actual changing of it takes time, practice, and persistence. But I promise you, if you practice these things, you can stop being a manipulator and learn to be a better friend, a better spouse, a better colleague, and a better parent. If you found this helpful, please share it with others. God bless.